Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. This video is going to blow your mind, um, but I'm going to try to go through this without rushing, um, because I have to give a little bit of the background on this for people that are new to the channel. Um, but for those of you that have been paying it, following for a while, this is a new chart. Um, and it adds in this 70 plus 7 right here, ending in 2024. And I also want to talk about the 62 plus 7, because we actually have two different fulfillments in this first part of Daniel 9:26. Okay, so if you open up your King James Bible, let's say, and you're following along, and you open it up to Daniel 9:24, it says 70 weeks are determined, etc., to seal up the vision and the prophecy and anoint the most holy. This word right here, weeks, the Hebrew word is Shabua, and it has three different meanings. The first meaning is a singular 7 right here. The second meaning is a period of 7 years, and the third meaning is the Feast of Weeks, which is a Jewish holiday. There's one per year. It's also known as Shavuot. So in Daniel 9:24, when it says 70 Shabua are determined to seal up the prophecy, it can mean 70 periods of 7 years, which would be 70 times 7. So this right here, this period of 7 days or years, is a multiple of 7. So in math, we would say times 7. So this right here, this singular 7, can also be understood as plus 7. So this is times 7, this is plus 7, because this is a singular and this is a multiple. So, so it can either be 70 plus 7, 70 times 7, or 70 Shavuots, 70 Feast of Weeks, which there's one per year, so basically 70 years. So that's what this is right here. 70 Shavuots from the time that the decree goes forth to restore Jerusalem right here. That occurred in 1947. Most people agree that that occurred in 1947, that at least one of them did. The most recent one. So three meanings. So it's either 70 Shavuots, 70 plus 7, or 70 times 7. But we know it's not 70 times 7 because that's longer than a generation. That would be 490 years. And in Matthew 24, it tells us that it's not longer than a generation. One generation will not pass. So it's not 70 times 7. That's what Matthew 24 clarifies for us. So it's one of two things. It's either 70 plus 7, which would end right here in 2024, or it's 70 Feast of Weeks, which would end right here in 2017. Okay, but here's the other thing that I wanted to point out that we haven't really talked about as much. This second verse that talks about the 62 Shavuots, that also has two different meanings. So again, it can either be 62 Shavuots, or it can be 62 plus 7. This is what blew my mind. So we know that Daniel 9:25 already happened, from the going forth of the commandment to restore in Jerusalem until Messiah shall be 7 plus 7 and 62 feasts of weeks. So that happened right here. From that decree right here, there were 7 plus 7 until Obama's birth and 62 Shavuots until the first year of his presidency. Then it says after the 62 Shavuots, Messiah will cut a covenant. So in your King James it says be cut off, but that word has two different meanings. The other meaning is cut a covenant. So after 62 Shavuots, Messiah will cut a covenant. And then it says, and he shall confirm the covenant for one period of 7 years, right here in verse 27. So what we've seen so far is that Obama won the Peace Prize after 62 Shavuots. So after 62 Shavuots, he won the Peace Prize. And why did he win the Peace Prize? The Nobel Committee, the Nobel Peace Prize Committee stated that he won that for confirming the United Nations Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. So he won it for confirming that worldwide peace treaty right there after the 62 Shavuots. So that's one fulfillment of that right there. And when it says he confirms the covenant with many, which is the whole world, because it's an international peace treaty, it says he confirms it for one period of 7 years. So this 7-year period right here from 2009 until 2016 is a possibility. It's possibly that 7-year period that is described in verse 27, but there's another possibility. That 7-year period could be from 2017 until 2024. It cannot be past that. 2024 is the cutoff because there's only two definitions that can apply, either 70 Shavuots or 70 plus 7. So 2024 is the final cutoff. So it's either the 7-year period from 2017 until 2024, or we're in that 7-year period right now. Well, we had lots of indications that we're in that 7-year period because we had the 1290th day of event occur right here. So a lot of people that are familiar with these texts will say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? The abomination of desolation. The other translation of that is the idol of terror, which is what this was. So it says from the time that and we've talked about this before many, many, many times, but believe it or not, people are still coming on my channel and trying to argue about this because they don't want to bother to go look at the concordance themselves to verify it. From the time that the position shall be taken oath and the idol that maketh terror, there should be 1290 days. So this word means continual employment. In modern times, we call that your job or your position. Deposition is an oath. Idol that maketh terror. It's a literal translation. So that event, that 1290-day period between the oath and the idol that was set up, it happened right here from Obama's first oath of office until the steel beam that he signed was placed in the One World Trade Center. That was the idol of the war on terror. That steel beam. We will rebuild. We will fight. I can't remember what it said exactly. But the point is, it's an idol that represents that war on terror. So in Daniel it says the idol of terror will be placed 1290 days after the oath. It happened exactly the way it was written. And it happened in the midst of this 7-year period that we're in right now. So I mean that's an indication that okay, maybe this is the 7-year period where the desolation of the city will occur, because that's what we're told will happen next. But it says the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the hallowed thing, and that's what's been getting me all this time. Because that's not a reference to Messiah. Messiah the Prince is someone different. And I've been saying that all along, and people are twisting my words and they're lying. They're outright lying about what I'm saying, and people have set up all these false websites in my name and all this stuff. You guys know, hopefully you know what's going on. But there's a lot, I mean, this is an attack. There is a war against this information. I hope you guys realize that. So and I'm gonna explain to you why in a minute. or later in this video. So there are indications we're in that 7-year period right now. We also had the sign of Revelation 12, which is very rare, happened in 2012. We also had the 1335th day. So we have all these indications. Obama was in Israel exactly on the day Jesus rode into Jerusalem on the donkey, right in the middle of the 7-year period, exactly 1,260 days after this. So, I mean, major things indicating that, okay, maybe this really is the 7-year period that this desolation of the city will happen in. And we know the city we're talking about is New York City. Because again, in Daniel 12, it's saying you're going to see this 1,290 day period between the oath and the idol. So we saw that right there, from the oath until the idol, and the idol was in New York City. So when it says the city and the hallowed thing, which is the One World Trade Center, we know we're talking about New York City. Okay, but here's the thing. Will that desolation of the city occur in this 7-year period right here, or in this 7-year period right here from 2017 until 2024? We don't know. We don't know. Like I said, we have all these indications that we're in that 7-year period right now, but this verse right here in verse 26 means two different things. The first part of this verse has already happened. After 62 Shavuot, Messiah will cut a covenant, which that covenant was confirmed right here after the 62 Shavuot. So that happened. But here's the thing. Here's the new part. It can also be 62 plus 7, because remember, this word has 3 different meanings, plus 7 times 7, or Shavuot. We know it can't be times 7 because that would be longer than a generation. So it's either Shavuot or plus 7. Well, the first definition already occurred, the 62 Shavuot. After 62 Shavuot, Messiah will cut a covenant. But the second meaning of this is after 62 plus 7 shall Messiah be cut off. So after 62 plus 7, Messiah shall be cut off. That is also happening. We know that because after 62 plus 7 is 2016, when we know Obama that's the last year of his presidency. So he will be cut off in 2016. We already know that because they can't be president for more than 2 terms. So we don't just have one fulfillment of Daniel 9:26, the first part of it. We have 2 fulfillments of the first part of Daniel 9:26 happening. The first one, after 62 Shavuot, shall Messiah cut a covenant, right here. After 62 Shavuot, Obama won the Peace Prize for confirming the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The second fulfillment, after 62 plus 7, shall Messiah be cut off, right here. After 62, 2009, plus 7, 2016, Messiah will be cut off. Obama will be cut off. That's the last year of his presidency. I mean, this is just the people out there that are saying that we are making this stuff up. I have something I want to say to you. It is impossible to make this up. You cannot fudge this data. You cannot make these texts say something that they do not say. You cannot do that. It is impossible. And this is part of the reason that I went to that much trouble to write this information in a document, in a PDF document that you can get on my website. It's linked below. Why did I do that? Why did I go to that much trouble to do that? Because people are still coming on my channel and saying, trying to make, they're going to great lengths, okay, setting up fake websites, fake Twitter accounts, using my name to spread disinformation. Because they want you to turn away. They want you to think that this is false, and it is not false. You cannot make this stuff up. I put all of the links in that document so that you could verify for yourself that these words mean exactly what this says right here. And I'm just showing you the word Shabua right now. You can see for yourself right here what it means. But um, please, if you don't, um, I have to stop. I just have to stop talking to those people because they don't know what they're talking about. They're ignorant. They're ignoring the information. But if you're new to my channel, I do prove it. I give you the links. The links to 3 different concordances are in the description box below. So if you really do care to know the truth, you will go and check those links. You will check this information for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Those people out there that just don't really care about the truth, they're the ones that are deluding themselves saying, oh, it's just made up stuff, because they are ignoring the facts. They're ignoring the truth that is right there, plain as day, in their face. I don't know how much longer this information that you can get so easily on the internet, the concordances is all and all of that. I don't know how much longer it's going to be there. So I really hope that you've print it, that if you did get the document, that you printed it out. Because this is huge, and what I'm about to show you next is just gonna blow your mind, because it blew my mind. So here's the thing. After 62 plus 7 shall Messiah be cut off. We know that's happening in 2016. So it's either one or the other. It's either 62 Shavuots or 62 plus 7. So again, we don't know which 7-year period it is. Is it this one we're in right now, or will it be this one right here from 2017 until 2024? We don't know, but what we do know is this: the people of the prince that shall come will destroy the city and the hallowed thing, and cause the Passover and the tribute to cease. The tribute is the One World Trade Center. The hallowed thing is the One World Trade Center. The Passover is huge in New York City because it has the highest New York City has the highest population of Jews in the world, second only to Israel. So who is the people of the prince that shall come? Guys, this is where it gets really important. I really hope that you are following me here. It's the little horn, and we're going to find out who that is. And it's not Obama. And I never said it was. Okay, people that are telling you that are lying to you. I never said that, because it's not. Thus far, I didn't know who it is, but now I do, and I'm going to tell you. By it, the position was made rotten, right here in Daniel 8:11. What position are we talking about? It's in Daniel 12:11. The position right here, from the time the position will be taken to oath, and the idol that maketh terror, there will be 1290 days. We saw that happen right here. We know we're talking about the position of the presidency of the United States, because we had the fulfillment of the 1290 days right here, and we also had the fulfillment of the 1335 days. I explain it in more detail in the book and also in those other videos, so please check the links below if you're confused right now. But that little horn, that is the little horn is what makes that position rotten. We're talking about the presidency of the United States. We're not talking about Obama. We're talking about the position itself. We're talking about the transgression of the laws. That is what it says in Daniel 8. Why was that position made rotten? Go read it right now in Daniel 8. Why was it made rotten? Because of the transgression of the laws. How many, that's what it says. How many people right now that don't know anything about these texts, they're not even paying attention to this stuff, but they're out there screaming about how the Constitution and the laws in the United States are being changed, and that they are destroying the Constitution right now. How many people are screaming about that? And they don't even know that it was predicted in the book of Daniel. I hope you are sharing this with those people, because we really need people with a high level of intelligence looking at this. This is extremely important because it tells you who is behind that transgression. It's highly complex. Just bear with me for a second. So right here, it's telling us who is making that position rotten, or in other words, who is transgressing the laws. That's what it tells you, that the laws are being transgressed. I don't think I have it in here right here, but you can go look at it yourself in the book of Daniel. Okay? Who is doing it? The little horn, right here. Okay, but who is the little horn? In order to know who that is, we have to look at who the beast is. We have to know who the beast is and the dragon too. So I just want to go through this for people that already are familiar with these stories, and also for people that are not familiar. So just have to do just a little bit of background on this. The beast and the horns can be either an entire government, or it can be one person, like the leader of a government. It can be either or. Both the beast and the horns can be either or, okay? And the reason we know that is because in Daniel 7 it says these 4 beasts are 4 kings. That seems to imply that the kings are that a king, quote unquote, is a singular person. However, in verse 23, it tells us that the 4th beast is a 4th kingdom, which means it's an entire government. That gives us a logical rule, and that rule is that the word kings can also refer to governments, entire governments, okay, like an entire country. So when it says the 10 horns are 10 kings, we know Daniel 7 has already set up the logical rule for us that kings can also be an entire country. Entire countries. So horns can be entire countries. We know that's true also because of the fulfillment that occurred with Daniel 8 during the time of Alexander the Great. We have extremely complex stuff. If this is new for you, please watch the video that I made on the dragon. It's called The Dragon, the Beast, and the Harem. It's linked below in the description box under The New World Order Will Be Destroyed by an Asteroid, Part 1. Okay. So the horns can be an entire country. It's not necessarily one person, because a lot of people think this little horn is the quote-unquote Antichrist. First of all, there is no Antichrist. That word in the Bible, it's only in there like 4 or 5 times, and it's not in reference to the little horn, by the way. So that's a doctrine that was set up, which is, fine. It may have been valid at one point, but we need to realize that this little horn can also mean an entire country. So, okay, so back in Alexander's time, we know that this 4th beast, and I'm sorry, it wasn't the 4th, it was the 3rd beast in Daniel 7, paralleled the goat in Daniel 8, which was Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great's empire was separated into 4 empires, and that was the 4 horns that the great horn was broken up into. That's what Daniel 8:8 is referring to in code. It was Alexander's empire that was broken into 4 different empires. So those 4 horns were entire empires. So that's just another proof that we have. That's our second proof
that horns can also be entire countries. Okay. So we also know that beast can also be a singular person, because in Revelation 13 we're told that the beast is the number of a man, the second beast, the lamb with two horns that spoke like a dragon. Okay, we know that that was the number, it says it's the number of a man. So the beasts and the horns can be either an entire country or one position, like the leader of a country. So either or. Okay, so the first way that these texts all played out was during the Roman Empire. And what we had was we had the dragon was Yehovah. Okay, so right here, I know people get so upset about this, and I have to say it again. It is not me saying this. It's the Bible that says it clearly. It almost cannot be more clear than this. I am Yehovah. I will be like a lion, a leopard, and a bear. I will devour them. The beast will devour them. Revelation 13, the beast was like a lion and a leopard and a bear. I am Yehovah, like a lion, a leopard, and a bear. The beast is like a lion, leopard, and a bear. It cannot be more clear than that. The Lord of the Old Testament is the beast, was the beast. Okay? The beast is also the dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, the beast having 7 heads and 10 horns. So these texts are playing out more than one time. There's multiple fulfillments. So the first way this played out was the dragon was the Lord of the Old Testament that gives power to the beast, which was the Holy Roman Empire. So the Lord of the Old Testament, because they did everything in the name of the Lord. They were murdering all those people in the name of the Lord. That's why it says in there, and he will blaspheme the name, because there's no other kind of, that's the worst kind of blasphemy there is. Saying that God is saying it's okay for you to murder innocent people. You know what I mean? That was the first fulfillment right there. The dragon was the Lord of the Old Testament giving power to the Roman Empire. And the lamb who spoke like a dragon was the position of the Pope. The Pope's title equaled 666. That's exactly what it says in Revelation 13. It's the number of a man, and the number is 666. That is one of the titles of the Pope. So during that Holy Roman Empire, that is what was occurring. If you want to know more information about that, again, see that video, The Dragon, the Beast, and the Harem, because it's highly complex. But that was the first fulfillment of these events right here. But in recent times, especially in 2009, we know that the United Nations was the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. The United Nations is in league with almost every country on the planet right now. It covers all 7 continents. That's the 7 heads. In 2009, it segregated all those 7 continents into 10 regions, which were the 10 horns. The texts also tell us that that beast is part of the 4th beast of Daniel, which we know was the Roman Empire. So it's part of that. Well, we know the United Nations still uses the old Roman flag, so we know it's coming out of the Roman Empire. So the United Nations currently, or at least in 2009, was the current form of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. So what is the dragon? Okay, well, we know that in these texts themselves, the beasts represent the national animal of a country. So, for example, the first beast of Daniel 7 was a lion with wings. And we know that that was Babylon, ancient Babylon, the ancient Babylonian Empire, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. And their national animal was the lion with wings. So, that clearly tells us that a country's national animal may be our clue on which beast they are, or even the dragon. So, which countries use a dragon as their national animal? There's 4: China, Vietnam, Bhutan, and the United Kingdom, specifically Wales. So since we know that the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is the United Nations right now, then which one of these countries is more likely the dragon giving power to the United Nations? It's the United Kingdom, right here. Clearly, obviously. And the United Kingdom consists of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So we're told that this little horn, remember the little horn that is transgressing the laws, it's behind the transgression of the laws in the United States. It tells us that right there in Daniel 8. That little horn comes out of 4. And those 4 go up toward heaven. That's the wings of the leopard, and that is the horns of the goat. It's in the future. Because remember, we talked about this in the last video. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check that out. It's also in the book. Because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I don't want to go, we're already at 30 minutes, but that's the little horn. It comes out of 4. And the 4 go up toward heaven, meaning they have some kind of satellite launching capability. Well, the United Kingdom has sent rockets up to, the moon, and sent satellites up, etc. So that's our criteria. That's one of the criteria of these 4 horns. They have to have gone up to heaven. So yes, the UK fulfills that. Not only is it using the dragon as its national animal, we know that's one clue, but it also has sent satellites up. That's our second clue. So that's a possibility. This is a possibility right here. This is a valid possibility that the dragon is the United Kingdom giving power to the United Nations, which is the beast. And the little horn is either England, Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland. And the false prophet or pope, false prophet or Messiah may be the Pope. We know that the Pope has a strong relationship with the United Kingdom. We've always seen that clearly. You guys, this is extremely, extremely important, because we have already had a fulfillment of Daniel 9:25. I feel sorry for people that have not acknowledged this fact. Because the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the hallowed thing. It is very clear who that is right now. It is the little horn, which appears to be one of these countries right here. You guys, the United Nations is headquartered in New York City, and this is clearly telling you that the United Nations is going to destroy the city and the hallowed thing. And that event will happen either sometime in this 7-year period right here, or in this 7-year period right here. These texts are telling us they are not our ally. You guys, I'm not talking about the civilians. You know I'm not talking about the civilians. I am talking about the government. The governments. The people within the governments and the highest level of the governments. They are not the front people. We're not talking about the front people. This is extremely, extremely important. I hope that you have printed out that book because we don't know how much longer the internet is going to be available. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to share this information with you guys because I am the only one that is talking about these events that have happened. As far as I know, I'm the only one talking about it. And if something happens to me, it's gonna be gone. It's just gonna be dust in the wind. So I hope you have printed out that book. I hope you are recording this information and keeping it on hand in front of you, physically, a hard copy of this, because this is extremely important, and I am under extreme attack, and they are trying to cover this up. They're trying to say there's all kinds of lies. There's people out there setting up websites in my name, setting up Twitter accounts in my name. Who knows what else, spreading all kinds of disinformation out there so that people will ignore this. This is extremely important. Extremely important. So I hope that you will preserve this information. And I just want to say thank you, those people that have been supportive of this channel. You are helping humanity by doing that because apparently I am the only person willing to get this information out. So there is not enough thanks for those of you that are being supportive to get this information out to people. There is no amount of thanks to those people that have done that because this is extremely important. Extremely important, especially for people that are living in the United States at this point right now. So I would be extremely leery of them coming into our country and pretending that they're our friend. At this point, I would be extremely leery of that. I'm not talking about the civilians here. I'm talking about the country, okay? I'm talking about the UN that is coming over here. They've got their vehicles. People are talking about it all the time, saying that, hey, what's going on? Why are these UN trucks traveling across the United States? Why is the UN headquartered in New York City? Why do they have their own international territory in our country? Do you think about it, you guys? Think about it. All right. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I hope you will take this seriously, and I will hope you will spread this information to as many people as possible.